morning, everyone. So today I am actually working on a VR to the Hermit's Cave. So it's his VR called The Deck That. I have my prompts here. And yeah, haven't done a VR in a while, so this will be interesting. And I don't have that many decks, but I had enough to where I had multiple choices for some prompts. So let's get into it. The deck that first prompt reflects who I used to be. So the deck that reflects who I used to be, this is an oracle deck. It's the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, and I have the full-size one. I believe there's a pocket version now, but I love this deck. I still occasionally use it, but it's definitely who I used to be. So when I say who I used to be, I will say that when I started with tarot, I was in the middle of, oh my gosh, it's so hard. It's such a big deck and it's circular, so it's kind of hard to handle. But I was in the middle of therapy, restarting my therapy journey. And this deck for me was something that I leaned on quite a bit because I was trying to figure myself out, and these are all archetypes, right? So I was diving into parts of myself. I was diving into the archetypes surrounding how I reacted in certain situations, what archetypes would come up in trauma or when I'm triggered, what archetypes did I feel were my true self. Yeah, so I was delving into a lot of that. I remember this kept coming up as an archetype that I wanted to access. And it was very helpful for introspection, which I really, really needed during that time. So it's absolutely beautiful. The book is amazing. So I don't know if the full book comes in the pocket edition, but you would have sort of keywords, a write-up, when in light, how does that archetype present itself, when in the dark, and then go deeper. So it would suggest, I don't know, a painting, a song, a YouTube video to look at even more. And then there were little write-ups as well on the side. And it is divided into, let me just see here. It's divided into selves, so archetypes of the self, places that you visit, you know, figuratively, literally, whatever, tools that you would use, and the initiations. So it's really, really interesting. I find myself not using it as often now because it's very, very deep inner work, or I have used it for really deep inner work. So I find that post-therapy, being more regulated, that it's not something that I go to as often, but certainly it lives there for me in that space, and I can come back to it, but it takes a lot of energy to access that place, which is a good thing, I think, for me. So that is the deck that reflects who I used to be. And then the deck that surprised me the most, I still have it in its original packaging, the Somnia Tarot. So I got this from, I forget her name, Chloe from Mystico House. It is an Australia-based shop, and I know that the organza bag did come from the creator of the deck, Nicholas Bruno, who I believe got married this weekend. So congratulations to him and his wife. And yeah, so this is the first edition, I believe. Beautiful sort of linen type box. And the reason why this deck surprised me the most is because, one, when I first saw it, I was terrified of it, like figures and hoods. And the story behind this deck is actually that the creator has sleep paralysis, and he would see all these figures in his dreams, or not dreams, but I guess sleep paralysis is interesting. You feel like you're awake, you're kind of in between. But what ultimately made me get this deck was how can I say this? How much work he put into it? Because he's a photographer, he's also a somebody that creates sculptures, a sculptor. There you go, that's the word I was looking for. An artist in the true sense of the word. So a lot of these props he built. And it's beautiful. And these are live photographs. Like, this is not AI. This is not Photoshop. I mean, maybe to clean it up, but from what I recall, like stacking stuff like that, that's him and a few of his friends, I think, were the models in this. And why did this surprise me? Because when I got it in hand, I thought I would be terrified of this. I thought I would be like, oh my gosh, this feels super creepy, like I won't be able to go to sleep, this is the stuff of nightmares. But for some reason, I got it in hand and it was so neutral to me. Like, not in a bad way, in a good way. Like, it was very objective. It wasn't creepy. It was just hauntingly beautiful. And I didn't feel like the subjects in these photos were coming out of the photo to get me, much like the ring. You know, it wasn't like that. So it was very evocative though. Like, this emperor, I remember just thinking, he's holding the anvil, he's holding that burden, and if he lets go, he'll crush himself. So there was a beautiful, just even this star card, so beautiful. It was beautiful, it was haunting, it is, and very evocative. I think this is him. If I'm correct in remembering this, he created the dollhouse, strapped it to his back, and, you know, took a photo on timer and lit it on fire. Like, I think, I'm not sure. But I did purchase the ebook, the e-companion book, so that's where you get some of those stories. How beautiful is this fool? Like, he's tied to the bed, he has the scissor, he's trying to jump off, but he hasn't cut it yet. So there's so much that you can interpret from this. I haven't used it in a while, but every time I take it out, I'm just so happy to have this in my collection. In fact, I have ordered the new editions, the Borderless and the Oracle deck, but I'm not sure that I will be giving this one up because I love the white borders. I love how it frames the images. I love how it contains them almost. And maybe that's what gave it that neutrality that was so helpful for me. And then the next prompt is the deck that intimidates me. It still does to a degree, and I actually have two answers for this prompt. So the first one is the Terra Volatile. And I feel like this is a deck that intimidates a lot of people because it's very esoteric. There's a lot of symbols on it. There's a lot of sacred geometry. There's a lot of cards. You can purchase an expansion pack. There are alternative cards. You can really make this deck your own. But the reason why it primarily intimidated me is because the imagery to me is very like historical, I guess, and historical decks, like let's say the Solobusca or, you know, that kind of imagery, I don't necessarily relate to as often as I do more straightforward images. So seeing all this kind of like symbology and there is a lot of it. If you have purchased their book, I think they go into it more. I have not, but I've wanted to. I'm just saving up. It's expensive. But yeah, it has been really intimidating because I feel like if I just read it as is, which you can, absolutely you can. It reads like an RWS. It's very close to that. Then it's fine, but like I feel like I need to read into the symbology more, and I really want to do a study on the symbology in the deck. So that has been a reason why this deck has intimidated me. And now I'm just looking through it, trying to see, like, because I don't do reversals, so I'm like, why are there reversals here? But yeah, it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. It's a deck that I thought I would need to be an expert in tarot to read, and that's not the case, but certainly there are layers to it that run very deep into the ground, if you will. And then the other deck that is also part of this prompt that intimidates me. So I mentioned historical art type decks, and it's the Tarot of Paul's Moon. This is a gorgeous deck. I love it so much. Oops, let's just, everything about the production is beautiful. There are a bunch of extra cards, so I've separated the ones that I don't use. It does come with like a leather bound, or I don't know if this is probably not real leather, but you know what I mean. Foiled guidebook, and it's absolutely awesome. And this is, I believe, art from medieval churches, like stained glass windows. So it's a collage deck. It's kind of hilarious in a way, so that's why I think like that's how I overcame my intimidation or being intimidated by this deck, because there are some, like, medieval art is pretty funny. Like they never knew how to draw a cat or paint a cat. Like they just look like weird little goblin creatures. So in a sense, that's why I'm kind of like, oh, this is hilarious. Like the snake and the human, I don't know, I just find that I find this imagery really funny. I don't know why, but I think that it is quirky and weird in the best way. So in that sense, I dig it, and it makes it less intimidating for me. But I really thought that, like, again, this is very, you know, I'm not sophisticated enough in my knowledge of tarot to read with this or to appreciate the art. And the thing is, I actually have learned more about art through decks like this. So it's actually really, really lovely in that sense. I'm trying to see if I can find a cat. I know this devil cracks me up. We'll end on that because like it's such a goofy rendition of the devil. So beautiful, beautiful deck. Again, I thought I must be a tarot expert to read with this deck. And then finally, well, not finally, but I'm doing this in chunks, so you'll see that the video will be woven together. And then for the fourth prompt, the deck that is pure comfort. It is my Align Heart Affirmations Oracle deck. This is my Intensive Care Bear deck. This is my hug deck. This is my comfort deck. I have the second edition. I did have the first one, and I rehomed it because it was white font and you couldn't really read it if you did it on a video. But I kind of regret rehoming that edition just because I was so attached to it. So it has stuff like You Exist. I move towards inspiration, joy, and the sparkling vision of my becoming. The journey of healing is never ending, and so is the love and dedication I have for myself. I trust in my strength and wisdom to keep myself safe while staying true to myself. I trust that the love that others have for me is steady, constant, and unwavering. You are not alone. I let go of the need to be perfect in the eyes of others. Like there's some seriously powerful affirmations here, and like the deck itself is very cutesy, but the content will smack you upside the head. Like you hide because you want to be found. Like really, stop reading me to filth. So that is the deck to me that is pure comfort, and there's categories in that as well. Then the next prompt is the deck that gives the best readings. Hands down, bar none, this is my tried and tested deck. This is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. This is the first deck that I learned to read tarot on. Like this is it. I saw a walkthrough, a deep dive that Lisa Papez did on this deck when I was hunting for what deck to kick off tarot or learning tarot with, and this was the deck that drew me. Not an RWS. I know that's controversial. I didn't learn an RWS, but this is the deck. And it just gives me the clearest readings, maybe because I did learn tarot on it, but I also think that the imagery is so rich, but it's very accessible. So it doesn't overwhelm me, it doesn't intimidate me, but there's just as much symbology here, I would argue, as there is in like a Tarot of Paul's Moon. Maybe not the Terra Volatile, but for me, it's a lot. It's comparable, honestly. There are some images which are very Rider-Waite-Smith. However, the rest kind of go their own way. Like the Fool on an alligator. This is just gorgeous. And the guidebook is so helpful as well. So let me actually... Here, like, read this. The Fool is pure and innocent and ventures out unencumbered. Her companion is a small bird, which represents the liberty to go anywhere. The path she's walking on is actually the tail of a huge crocodile hiding in the shadows of the garden, but the Fool is not aware of the danger in front of her. She knows that life is full of surprises, and one has to be willing to take risks in order to experience life fully. So it gives you that, like, jump and take the risk, but it doesn't shy away that there is danger and there's naivete there, and it's just so smart. And all the kings have there are king male presenting king cards, and then there are female presenting king cards as well for all the suits, so I really like that. Look at that Four of Pentacles. Like, it could be protection, it could be imprisoned, it could be like you're keeping people out or you're keeping yourself in. This beautiful Hangman, I remember seeing this and thinking, oh my god, a ballerina-ish, and she's upside down, but the upside down, by her being upside down, she's pulling a zipper on the environment around her and opening up a different perspective. Like, it's so smart. So when I see this deck, like the Knight of Pentacles, the horse is literally part of the earth and is growing, and it takes time for something to grow. So the Knight of Pentacles moving slowly but intentionally. The Tower, you can't tell where the tower ends and the woman begins, but as she clings to it, she also gets destroyed. Like, it's so incredibly smart, and I love this deck so much. One of my favorite emperors. Beautiful Devil, because it looks like just a gorgeous girl, but it's actually a spider and a poisonous mushroom. This Eight of Swords, like, just... it speaks for itself. I could go on, I'm not going to, otherwise this is going to be a very long video, but that is hands down the deck for me, that if I want a reading and I'm not feeling it or not feeling connected to something, I can come to this deck, because it's so practical and so straightforward, and it doesn't really care about whether I feel an attachment or I'm in the right headspace, or it just gives me the reading that it wants to give me. The next prompt is decks. Well, I gave it away, didn't I? These are two decks. Decks that are too pretty to use, but I still love it. Oh, my bad. It's just one deck. So a deck that is too pretty to use, but I still love it, and I still use it. This is the Venus Morningstar Tarot. So this is from the same creator of the Tarot of Aphrodite. This is a beautiful deck. Like, absolutely gorgeous. This is found art, curated really well. The backs are gorgeous. Oh, there's a little bit of dirt on that. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Anyway, my OCD, there, it's gone. And then like a matte gold. Now, it's so pretty. I shouldn't shuffle it, but I do, so you can see there's a little bit of chipping. But this is just gorgeous. Look at that strength card. Very evocative, very haunting, very ethereal. My hair on my arms is standing up as I look at these images. Like, they're beautiful. It is incredibly pretty. I still use it because I have a thing. I don't have decks that I just collect to look at. They all have to be usable for me, because I'm not a collector, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, honestly, I'm just not. I need the decks to be decks that I can play with, work with, so I can't be too precious with it. But if ever there was a deck that I was like, I want to take care of you, it's this one. Look at the Ten of Wands, Atlas holding the world up. Like, how smart. It's just so well curated, like, you get it immediately. And honestly, it's beautiful. Look at that, just gorgeous. I can't say enough. The guidebook is also pretty helpful. The creator put more descriptions in the Tarot of Aphrodite, but the meat of it also comes out in this guidebook for the Venus Morningstar Tarot. And then the next prompt is the deck that made me fall in love with tarot again. This one was hard because it cycles. I've been a tarot reader now long enough to where multiple decks have made me fall in love with tarot again. But there was one deck in particular, I think, the first time it happened where I kind of fell out of love with tarot and then fell back into it. It's because of this deck. It's the Lubanko Tarot. And this deck could also fall in the deck that surprised me the most, or the deck that intimidated me. Wow, we just get off on that picture, huh? Like, we're just gonna start there. This is why. It's very raw. It's very, trigger warning, I should have said that up front, sorry. It's very raw, it's very real, it's very sexual, very erotic. And to me, it was kind of like, oh, tarot can be this. Tarot doesn't have to be pristine or clean or put together or, you know, helping you just see the best in you. This is also helping me see the reality, the rawness, which is just as beautiful. The parts of myself that I hide from the world, that I feel shame around, like, this is visceral. And it really, really connected with me. So I love this deck for kind of bringing me back to tarot in a way that no other deck had done for me at that time. There's another trigger warning coming up. Like, it's very visceral. And the cards that I thought, well, I'm not gonna get the deck because I can't seem to get over those cards. Those are the cards that I love the most. It was like confronting myself in a mirror. So I love the Lubanko for that. And it is coming to mass market finally. So it's out of print as an indie deck, but mass market, I believe, next year or this year. So yeah, keep your eye out for that one. And then a deck that I wish more people talked about. So there are two. And they are, one is a collaboration and one is by one creator, but that creator was part of the collaboration. So it's an oracle and a tarot. The tarot is the Lonely Dreamer Tarot by Melissa Witherspoon. This edition is the third and final edition. So I commissioned this tarot cloth and this tarot pouch to match the inside. There are a bunch of extra cards and an expansion pack, which I did pick up. Beautiful backs. Now the third edition guidebook is the most meaty of all the guidebooks. I had the second edition and I love the backs to that, but I needed to get this third edition. One, because the art is referenced, which I love. So this is a deck based on the artwork of Odilon Redon, who is the Lonely Dreamer. The artwork is referenced, and then Dr. Esther Frankel-Tishman of Mindful Tarot wrote some insights for each card, and it's absolutely beautiful. Really, really powerful deck, and probably the deck that made me explore indie decks in tarot. So it is beautiful imagery. Very, like, it can be very dark, it can be very light. It's a mix of his noirs and his more colorful works. Look at that Buddha walking through the forest. Like, it's beautiful. And there was a time when people were talking about this, but I don't think really it has ever been talked about heavily because it's very abstract in a way. You know, like very wispy paintings. I forget whether Redon, like, it's kind of in the middle of Impressionism and Symbolism. I'm not sure. I'm horrible at this stuff. I'm learning as I go. But This is one of my favorite cards, Joan of Arc, and then I believe Melissa Witherspoon edited to put like a lioness up top, I'm not sure. Two paintings that were merged together, and then the creator showed the wands here. So this is the Queen of Wands. So I wish more people were talking about this because it's such a dreamy deck. Like, for me, it's really just like very emotional, very dreamy, very fantastical. The King of Swords, like, look at that, the Fool, gorgeous. So that's the first deck that I wish people talked about more. Let me just put it back in its pouch. So I keep the extra cards outside of the pouch so that I can have this thing about not mixing them up. Well, that's just my thing. And then the second deck that I wish more people talked about is also by that creator, but it's a collaboration between her and Victoria Matthews. So it is the Oracle d'Or, OR for Odilon Redon, and these are specifically more to do with his noir, so more black, grays, beiges, and inside is an inscription, I have a feeling only for the shadows. These two decks could also be in the it's too pretty to use, but I still love it. But like for me, it's more I wish more people talked about this. Gorgeous book, little guidebook, but there is a companion book that I bought that is invaluable for me. Rose petal finish, but not the sticky kind. You can definitely riffle shuffle these. There's gold foiling everywhere. It is so absolutely beautiful. And the keywords are really, really like introspection, radiance, wildness. Like you get a lot, liminality. It's gorgeous. Expansion, tenderness. There are more keywords that are maybe not so straightforward, like Quasimodo. There's also one that is, let me just see if I can find it. Black smoke, for example, and you really have to go to the guidebook for. But for the most part, it's pretty easy to read with, but it is amazing, and it's a great complement to the Lonely Dreamer. So I do use those two decks together, but I also use this with the Terra Volatile because I feel like it's kind of a dark deck and it really complements that. So yeah. Okay, and the next prompt is a deck that I wish, that feels like a secret between us. There are two decks in this prompt, and one of them probably people are gonna hate me for. So maybe I'll start with that and get it out of the way. Okay, a deck that feels like a secret between me and the deck is the Yokai Yochi Tarot. So I got one of the last editions. I was staying up to like 2 a.m. to try to get this, and I finally got, because they would be listed at random, and I finally ordered one. It is in pristine condition. I've used it like 3 times. Never riffle shuffled, I think, or maybe once. I tried to maybe once. Yeah, I think I did. So like it's in beautiful condition, beautiful linen finish, gorgeous art. Why is this a secret between me and this deck? For some reason, I have never been able to read with this. And I am very upset about that because I wanted to be able to read with this. But I have this thing where if the deck is based off of something, I want to go into that background and connect it to the meaning of the cards. And I would read up on the legends behind the yokai, and I could not connect it to the meaning of the cards. So I know that Fairlight Tarot though has this, but it's for her members. So I am considering joining a membership subscription so I could have access to those videos and see how they connect to the images, the yokai, because it's a gorgeous deck. I have not been able to read with it. So actually, right now, I am holding this for a trade for an out-of-print deck, one of which is the Spolia. So if anybody is seeing this and has the spolia and wants the Yokai Yochi, shoot me a message. A cup of tarot on Instagram. So yeah, but it's a beautiful, beautiful deck. And every so often, I get the urge to just try again. But I handle with care because now I don't shuffle it. So that is the first deck. Please don't hate me. I wanted to love it. I do, but not in the way that I was hoping. And then the other deck that feels like a secret between us is the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity Edition with a mirror finish. So you'll probably see my phone camera and my setup. If I focus on the backs, it does come with like one of those eyeglass cleaning cloths to remove fingerprints. So I have always loved the Tarot of the Holy Spirit, but it was all like kind of dark and the colors weren't very saturated, the original edition. Then the creator came out with this edition where it's like neon and beautiful. And there are seasons where I really get this deck. Like, it gives me the best readings. And then there are seasons where I really do not understand what is going on. And I don't know why. I am not willing to part with this just yet. But also it does cross my mind every now and then where I'm like, you're not reading with it. But there are just, it's so beautiful. So I'm not sure, this could also be in the too pretty to use, but I still love it category. Like, I love it, but I'm also confused as to when to use it. So I think I'm still trying to find the right space for it. One of my favorite cards, Temperance. And I haven't found it yet. So yeah, but it is safe in my collection for now. And waiting to have the right opportunity to use it again. Okay, and then the next prompt is a deck that defines my tarot practice right now. So the deck that I have been using the most right now is the Burning Tiger Tarot. There you go. The creator is awesome. I have communicated with him through Instagram. I believe that is how you order his decks. And he's just so lovely. He's just so lovely. So this is the Burning Tiger Tarot. This is a deck from Italy. The creator is Italian. I did get my deck from Italy when he was in Italy. I believe he's based out of Germany now. I'm not sure. So it looks like stiff paper, but actually this is like the most unique cardstock. It does riffle shuffle beautifully. The backs are some of the most beautiful backs I've ever seen. And it is collage. And I usually don't like this type of collage, like manual collage. Or he calls it, I believe, soul collage. But I love this. So this is where I am right now, where I'm expanding into new areas of my practice, even new imagery or new types of imagery or art that can evoke certain responses in me. How beautiful. And it doesn't come with a guidebook. I believe he was in the midst of creating a guidebook when I last talked to him, but I don't have word on that just yet. But it doesn't need one. Like, there's so much layers, there's so many layers, but at the same time, I make of it what I will, and it has become very personal, and it's just so well done. So this is what defines my tarot practice right now, where I'm evolving as a tarot reader. I love a good guidebook, and I will always use it if it's there. However, this has really forced me to rely on my own intuition. So look at that. How beautiful. The use of like negative space. So it's just gorgeous. So that is the Burning Tiger Tarot. Kind of feels rose petally, but shuffles really well. So I don't know. I'm not an expert on cardstock. And then the deck that pulls me out of a rut. So the latest deck to sort of pull me out of a rut and kind of again sparked my love for tarot is the Blood Moon Tarot. This is original, like I know it's in the top box, but there was a version that was in a top box, so just saying. The backs are, again, one of the most beautiful backs I've ever seen. This deck surprised me because I thought that this would be very similar to the Lubanko, and actually it's not. So when I looked at this, I was like, it's just as raw as the Lubanko, it's kind of the same vibe. No, it's not. It is completely different, and it was very raw, but more in the sense of, it's like raw and soft, and the Lubanko is raw and in your face, and I love them both for that. So this is the deck that pulled me out of my rut of just kind of reading but not feeling the reading, if you get what I mean. With this, I have no choice. I will feel the reading. It is not neutral. It will definitely elicit a reaction out of me. And then finally, last prompt, the deck that waits patiently. And this will be a surprise, I think. So in this pouch is the deck that I created and is on Make Playing Cards with the help of AI, very transparent about that. This is the Sundar Tarot. Now Sundar, so much cat hair, in Hindi, I'm Indian, I don't speak Hindi, but I am Indian. Sundar means beautiful. And my dad's name is actually the male version of that. And I'm very close to my father. So this was also created during a time where he was going through quite a lot of health problems. He still is, but it has layers of meaning to me. And it is a deck that waits patiently because I have not used this in a while. It was like after I created it, I used it for 2 months maybe, and then I just stopped. It was like I had poured myself out into this deck and I could not look at it for a while because it reminded me of so many things about myself. So looking at it now, I want to use it again, but there's a part of me that's still like, I'm not ready to use it again. So I don't know if other tarot creators feel that way. I'm actually curious to ask Rose Bay about that because she has created several decks. But this is my deck showcasing Indian culture. There's so much research that went into this. I am an Indian that was born and raised in the Philippines, so having felt disconnected from that culture and having to discover it through research and through this tarot deck has meant a lot to me. So it is waiting patiently for me to use it again, come back to it again. I'm never getting rid of this copy. This is the one with the flaws, but I love it so much. Labor of Love. This is like 100 cards, I think. Yeah, lots of extra cards. But I will get back to it when I will get back to it. So for now, those are the decks that have influenced me, touched me, brought me back to life. Like, yeah, I love them so much. And some that I am struggling with, but still very willing to keep working on these things. Let's pull this out as well. So those are the decks. Thank you so much for joining me. This is quite a long video. Thank you for sticking around. Take care. Bye.